Good morning, this is Team 2. Before going into the presentation, we thank all for the participation of the staff members and students. Our presentation today will be mainly focused on the UN DESA and the role of youth. I am Hyunseul Chung.
Chano Kim.
Jeong.
Suyeon.
I'm Jang.
To give a brief overview of our presentation, we'll first be introducing the UN DESA, what it is, social and economic issues including climate change, then the situation regarding COVID-19, programs for youth, and lastly, what we youth can do.
First of all, what is UN DESA? The United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs is part of the United Nations Secretariat and is responsible for the follow-up to major United Nations summits and conferences, as well as services to the United Nations Economic and Social Council and the second and third committees of the United Nations General Assembly. UN DESA assists countries around the world in agenda setting and decision making with the goal of meeting their economic, social, and environmental challenges. It supports international cooperation to promote sustainable development for all, having as a foundation the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, as adopted by the UN General Assembly on 25th September 2015. In providing a broad range of analytical products, policy advice, and technical assistance, UN DESA effectively translates global commitments in the economic, social, and environmental spheres into national policies and actions, and continues to play a key role in monitoring progress towards internationally agreed upon development goals. It is also a member of the United Nations Development Group. UN DESA is part of the UN Secretariat, which is funded through regular assessed contributions from member states. The department was reorganized into its present form in 1997. The department is headed by Liu Zhenmin, who assumed the office of Undersecretary General for Economic and Social Affairs following his appointment to this position by Secretary General Antonio Guterres on 26 July 2017. Mr. Liu advises the Secretary General on the three pillars of sustainable development, social, economic, and environmental, and nurtures key partnerships with governments, UN agencies, and civil society organizations, including the SDGs. In directing and managing UN DESA, the Undersecretary General is supported by the Assistant Secretary General for Economic Development and the Assistant Secretary General for Policy Coordination and Interagency Affairs. UN DESA's mission is to promote sustainable development for all, focusing on the most vulnerable. This reflects a fundamental concern for equity and equality in countries large and small, developed and developing. It underscores the need for all stakeholders, governments, UN and other international organizations, civil society, and the private sector to do their part to improve economic and social well-being. This emphasizes on equitable participation by all people and nations is what makes the United Nations unique and gives the development agenda its universal legitimacy.
UN DESA has many contributions to various subjects worldwide. UN DESA has made contributions to achieving the targets of Sustainable Development Goal 13, climate action. The Paris Agreement really took a substantial part in the creation of SDG 13, being adopted by 196 parties at the time. It is a legally binding international treaty aiming to strengthen the global response, strengthening the ability of countries to deal with negative and positive impacts of climate change, and set out a global framework to avoid dangerous climate change by limiting global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius and making efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. UN DESA has led an organization of the 2021 UN High-Level Dialogue on Energy, gathering energy under the auspices of the General Assembly since 1981. Leading this organization was a meeting that cooperated on providing clean and affordable energy and leading our Earth on the way to net zero emissions.
The Vision for Inclusive Social Development assists governments and civil society organizations formulate social policies that foster more secure, just, free, and harmonious societies. The division works with development partners to promote the realization of societies for all, where all members, including older persons, youth, persons with disabilities, indigenous people, and other often marginalized groups, all have equal say and equal participation. It provides the primary support and servicing to the Commission for Social Development, the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, and the Conference of State Parties to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Inclusive social development encompasses a wide range of issues, including but not limited to poverty, eradication, the reduction of inequalities, employment generation, the promotion of cooperatives, family, and the role of civil society, older persons and aging, youth, disability, and indigenous peoples. The work of the United Nations on social development is guided by a number of international agreements, including but not limited to the Copenhagen Declaration on Social Development and Program of Action of the World Summit for Social Development, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the World Program of Action on Youth, the outcome document of the High-Level Meeting on Disability and Development, the Madrid International Plan of Action on Aging, and the objectives of International Year of the Family, the International Year of Cooperatives, and Third United Nations Decade for the Eradication of Poverty. United Nations Division for Inclusive Social Development is dedicated to fostering effective policy impact and intensified global dialogue on social development issues to support the achievement of social inclusion, the reduction of inequalities, and the eradication of poverty, leaving no one behind.
As well as social issues mentioned earlier, DESA also contributes its work to economic issues. DESA has various divisions within, and the division which focuses on the economic issues called EAPD, which stands for the Division of Economic Analysis and Policy Division. EAPD mostly provides analysis and helps or create policies that may help with economic issues. And they also publish documents called World Economic Situation and Prospects. They manage projects in developing countries, reviews the status of member and non-member countries, and provide implications. Within the latest World Economic Situation and Prospects, it mentioned different SDGs they focus on, such as SDG 1, 8, 9, and 12. SDG 1, poverty, was expressed the report by stating examples. Latin America and the Caribbean have suffered from the consequences of the pandemic. Moreover, the crisis has been responsible for setbacks to the achievement of SDGs, for example, between workers and between genders. Not only SDGs, parts of the document also focuses on how COVID-19 impacted our economy. It outlines various impacts COVID-19 had on our economy by stating impacting factors such as job losses, debt, increasing poverty, and more. For the next part.
So first, these are the impacts that the COVID had on our life. I believe that everyone has experienced the impact the coronavirus had in our life. But did you know that it also had a strong influence on the social and economic aspects of the whole world? I would like to introduce some of the social and economic impact caused by COVID-19. First, the destabilization of macroeconomics. According to the UN DESA Policy Brief number 85, this pandemic situation made countries into a harder situation. Even it had worsened the debt situation in some countries so that it eventually had to ask for loan money. Secondly, the decrease of global trade. The WHO projected that global merchandise trade will fall by 9.2%, accurately portraying the trend of decreasing overall trade in the world. This was because the overseas commerce was halted due to the governments being cautious about abroad contact. The final point that brought a negative economic impact by the COVID-19 is the problem of decreasing employment. According to the UN Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment in May might have been as high as 16%. This problem would have had a detrimental impact on the lifestyles of many citizens. Up to here was the economic impact brought by the virus that caused many financial damage. However, the social impact caused by COVID-19 crisis is also severe. Many countries indicated in their voluntary reports that the pandemic had their divides and inequalities worsened, along with other disparities as well. For example, the North-South polarization. It has been worsened in this pandemic situation and widened the gap between the poor and the rich. According to the 2020 UN Stats SDG review, the primary completion rate is 34% for children from the poorest 20% of households, but 79% for children from the richest 20% of households. It is predicted that these situations happen due to ones with the wealthier receiving the unfair chance utilizing the backlog. This is one of the reasons why, due to the worldwide pandemic, it has been getting harder for these situations to receive quality education. According to the United Nations, in 2020, as COVID-19 spreads across the globe, more than 190 countries have implemented nationwide school closures. 1.57 billion students were forced out of school, and even with the option of distance education, 500 million of them still couldn't receive any form of education. Up to now was the adverse effects of COVID-19 that affected our very lifestyles. I truly understand that it should be resolved as soon as possible, but how is that going to be done? Can I ask what the global organizations such as DESA does and will do to solve the situation?
Of course. So, next slide, please. So after the spread of COVID-19 all over the world, starting from January 2020, several national and international institutions have established lots of guidelines and responses toward the COVID-19 crisis. According to the report released from 2019 to 2020, which was the era when the seriousness of COVID-19 was at its apex, DESA proposed mainly 5 things as the responses to the COVID-19 situation based on their original works: analysis, intergovernmental support, and capacity building. We can divide the works done by DESA into action for COVID-19 and action for SDGs. As the action for COVID-19, supporting the Secretary General's initiatives in response to COVID-19, and policy brief and webinar series on the economic and social impact of COVID-19. DESA analyzes the critical issues, especially related to the COVID-19, and transmits its report to the member states and Secretary General to decide what to perform on this crisis. For example, with the in-depth analysis of particular 10 countries, DESA helped the policymakers of each country to navigate the uncertainties in the height of COVID-19 situation. Also, DESA released DESA Working Paper number 172, Variations in COVID-19 Strategies, Determinants and Lessons, shown in the middle of the page, right side of the page, for policymakers determining the strategies for saving citizens from socioeconomic chaos. Also, by publishing the rapid and in-time updating information, UN COVID-19 database that includes COVID-19 data, healthcare information, current population, and economic situation, DESA was able to help governors to perform immediate action for the nations. As the action for SDG goals, Sustainable Development Outlook 2020 and events, Recover Better, Economic, Social Challenges and Opportunities, published and raised by DESA, gave a better help to the government achieve SDG goals despite the COVID-19 situation, and gathered together to make a better future in the post-COVID-19 situation. For instance, DESA asked countries for a critical need for investments in the protection of socially weak people to help African nations and people in Africa. As a result, DESA was able to develop partnerships and support their efforts on social equality, which was discouraged by the COVID-19 situation, with the slogan, "Leaving no one behind." Even though all of the work has stopped economically and socially, DESA worked hard to perform its duties for a more sustainable future.
So I believe that most people know what global citizenship is, but what exactly does it mean? Global citizenship is the term that individuals are a member of multiple diverse local and non-local networks rather than single actors affecting isolated societies. It allows individuals to embrace their social responsibility to act for the benefit of all societies, not just their own. The word might sound pretty complex, but it simply means what all the UN organizations pursue, including DESA, which is willing to achieve equity and equality between nations with different conditions. So why is global citizenship so important? The main reason global citizenship is rising attention is related to intensified globalization. Through industrialization, advanced technology connected world zones and people starting mutual relationship globally. It has become very common to see different cultures in different places, like us living in different regions while having the same identity of Korean and meeting each other through the HFA program using online platform. So now it is not very meaningful to distinguish people by how they look, where they were born, or where they live and what language they speak, because the border between those aspects diluted, that now it's better to define the world as one big group with various identities. Another important term that we should consider is multilateralism. Multilateralism simply means an alliance of multiple countries pursuing a common goal. Because the world achieves mutual connection through globalization, every nation inevitably influences one another, and making organizations such as UN more critical. So without considering multilateralism, there will be an unfair distribution of power between nations and resist the world's development. To give an example, Russia Federation and Ukraine shows how lack of multilateralism starting from a single Crimean peninsula, and it can lead to large-scale conflict. However, it is hard to find a common consensus on the problem without proper understanding and conversation. Therefore, we need organizations like DESA that can balance out great powers and small powers with global citizenship and multilateralism. And moreover, utilizing these ideas would bring notable benefits not just to individuals, but also to the whole society. Learning global citizenship raises awareness of world events and participation in local, national, or even global communities. And this individual development eventually provokes enhancement to society, such as collaboration with different communities, the advance of technology, or awareness of cross-cultural affairs. Regarding global citizenship, DESA published World Youth Report, and one of the projects was named Youth Lead the Change. It targets high school students in the United States of America to participate in budgeting in schools. The Phoenix Union High School District in Arizona initiated a participatory budgeting process in 2016. 5 schools undertook 6 months of the program, including training, outreach efforts, idea collection events, and meeting with district staff to transform ideas about improving their schools into project proposal. A total of 3,854 students in the 5 public high schools was directly involved in deciding how to spend $26,000 in school district funds. Experience of participating for communal benefit led to the understanding of multilateralism and global citizenship by both considering and sharing all the members' various perspectives. Furthermore, it leads to the advance of SDGs number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, which is actively supported by DESA. Because this program raises awareness of the structure of budgeting and the similar perspectives, so when the youth grow up, they will be able to contribute to constructing sustainable and safe communities.
Now I will introduce another example program DESA analyzed To begin with, do you guys know what the TDMT is? This program was established in 2015. TDMT is a project named Training Disaster Medicine Trainers, program students who are in IFMSA and experts from the WHO and other foreign institutions lead a program that kits out medical students with the knowledge and skills they need to take action in disaster situations. This training project is different from other programs, including hands-on curriculums as peer-to-peer training, research, or residential courses, as well as advocacy campaigns.
Adding on to the example that I mentioned, which was student participated school budgeting program, this type of education provides a comprehensive picture of the economic and social system. However, this program is limited to the very small scale of community that is enough for basic comprehending of budgeting procedure, but it will not conduct to further understanding or active involving to additional program. For this reason, we want to suggest UN DESA and also youth to expand the program as statewide or if possible nationwide. So students can argue what they want the government to do and what the community they are included in need. In this revised program, students are required to submit petitions, proposals, or amendments about the uses of revenue in their community considering social and economic condition. This would help both the development of government and youth because the government can have an opinion of the new generation that will lead future. Also, it is the opinion from the member of society that includes visibility and practicality. Additionally, youth can have critical thinking and various perspectives of individuals, institutions, and governments, so participation to the issues of their community would achieve SDG 11, which makes cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. And this program would offer accessibility to the economy, society, and also politics for the young generation. Related to what UN DESA does, such as facilitating conference and providing the field for finding consensus, as a teenager who belongs to society, we should have a multilateral view to be the connection between community and government for the attainment of sustainability, which will lead our world into becoming more globalized.
What do you think is the most dangerous factor that endangers human beings? You can just unmute yourself and tell me the answer. Anyone?
Maybe climate change.
Yes, you're right. Our team believes that we youth should be more active toward climate action, absolutely like UNDESA pursues with achieving SDG 13, climate action. However, the TDMT program doesn't care about achieving SDG, even though they are mentioned in the report released by UNDESA. Supposing some people feel like there are numerous plastic bottles and injection bottles used from hospitals while participating in the program like TDMT or during the COVID situation. Our team thought we need a program for them. Therefore, we would like to introduce a project for them to be able to accomplish SDGs as a youth. The next step of our suggesting project is this: analyze the present condition of how many plastic bottles and injections are wasted in a day or year. Youth can analyze the situation and also they can report those results to the public, like to their schools or their towns if it's possible. The most important thing that youth have to do as future global leaders is to consider what they can do with those disposable products. This project would leave that question and the decision would be onto the use. As to give an example for that decision, we'd like to suggest the establishment of a youth recycling association with the people near its use, or the creation of new products that have artistic values like this photo. As the global citizens and youth must have the ability to look around their environment, find problems, and research for the solution in the favor of SDGs. We believe that this project will help youth to achieve their goals.
Except for the programs that were explained by our team member, as a common and most convenient method, using social media is also a great way to inform the problems that one perceives in one's local region, to spread awareness of messages, and to gather support from all over the world to make a better world as a youth. For example, using Reels challenges like non-plastic challenge or eco challenge or green challenge is an effective way to encourage people act since it is in fashion. We youth can start the Reels challenge uploading the picture of using eco-friendly products. Then participants, people from all over the world, take the everyday photos of using tumblers or reusable bags after shopping and upload it. Or planting the trees challenge is also a good way either. It would be better if we youths are able to make songs which should increase the participation of people all over the world. We expect this way of approach is simple but impactful. Which thoughts come up when you think of Z generation? Yes, you're right. Proficiency in digital technology, fairness and values, challenge consciousness, preference for new content. We, MZ generation, deeply agree that these values are the essential values that drove forth for others' actions for achieving SDG goals, whether we are in this COVID-19 crisis or not. It might be the future for the 80-90 generation, but it's present for our generation. Therefore, we are about to use these values. We will do whatever we can do, carrying those abilities like programs mentioned earlier or informing problems via social media. As active institutions, including UN DESA and UN, are working hard for a better sustainable future, we are also ready to support the at ends. This is our time to act. Yes, this is the end of our presentation, and before we go, we want to announce one more thing to you. This is our hashtag challenge for the purpose of spreading the message. This is our time to act. If you want to join our challenge, please upload these hashtags. Hashtags, this is our time to act, and UN DESA on your SNS with the picture of you or the picture of what you have done for the better sustainable future, if possible. Thank you once again, and I hope all of you show your action. Thank you.